I'd like to take a minute on this Greg Cote Tuesday to talk to you a little bit about fathers and brothers and sons and the treasure chests of concealed love that can be unearthed around men and their oafy masculinities if you care enough to do the digging. Perhaps you've heard me say that the greatest professional blessing I've ever known for 8 years on ESPN was getting old next to my old man on your television. That whole thing was ridiculous. It made us closer than we've ever been, and I honestly can't believe that I got to do any of that in his second language, no less, and the gratitude in it will overwhelm me on the days I sink into thinking that one day Papi will be gone. I celebrated his 81st birthday with him this last weekend, surrounded by photographs of the youngest son he lost a year ago. So mortality has been on my mind a lot more than I would like. But if you really make me think about it, I might say that I've had only one professional blessing that rivals working with my old man. And it's working, believe it or not, with the other old man I've had the blessing of sharing with you over these many years, Greg Cote. I've worked at his side a lot longer than I did with Papi, nearly 40 years, since I was 19, literally a teenager. And it's come with a lot more laughs, comfortable and proud as Greg is of his endless river of oddities. He's stubborn, he's weird, he's loyal, he's loving. And he's made me feel like family from the very start. Our relationship began, you could say, before I even met him. I still remember that story that Cote wrote about former University of Miami wide receiver Michael Irvin and his late father and his late father's hat. It didn't merely make me want to be a better writer, that story. It made me know for sure that I wanted to be a writer at all. To me, Greg was an idea and an inspiration before he was a person. He had touch, and he made me feel before he was someone I could either touch or feel. I don't know that I had ever envied another writer before reading that story about Irvin's love and loss. Cote's grace with words, a little poetry, a little song, a lot of feeling. We tease him too much on Tuesdays, but it's not an overstatement to say that this man genuinely taught me, guided me, inspired me, and helped me better understand what I wanted from writing, work, and life. When I got to the University of Miami, very much searching, I'd stand way down below as a student and see him up high in the press box at football and baseball games, closer to the big lights where my dreams were, and I would wish that I was him. Quite literally, I looked up to him from the start. He was my very first friend at the Miami Herald, back when I was scared, super scared. I was an intern. He told a joke in my ear in the Herald cafeteria and then wrapped an arm around me and insisted I come sit with all my childhood idols. You do not forget the people who make you feel like you belong. You do not forget the people who make you feel like you've arrived. Belonging, arriving, these are things I associate with home. And my closest and most personal access to home professionally often has Greg Cote, if not holding the keys to the house, at least drinking a beer on the couch. Greg is, as they say of the deepest friendships, the family I chose. You see it and hear it every Tuesday, whether he's dancing with the golden oldies or missing the hard net workout. But you would have seen it and heard it any time we were together at any point over the last 35 years, since the first day we met. And he made me feel like newspapers were exactly where I needed to live. He was part mentor and part guide, and he made it real simple for me. All I had to do was follow the laughter. Just keep following the laughter. You're getting warmer, Dan. Warmer to all the things you want. Just follow the laughter. Keep following the laughter. It'll get you to where you want to be, where you want to live, where you want to work, to the people you want to be around, to the people you want to share your life with, to be the man you want to be, the one who can protect your friend and his son and their family and your family as everyone grows old together. Just follow the laughter. It'll do more than set you free. It'll make you feel free too. Really feel it. and all the places where gratitude lives so deeply that when you press on it, it will overflow around the heart and it'll leak right out of your eyes. The very best things in life are pretty simple sometimes. I like being around him, always, especially when he's annoying me like a big brother might, because he makes me laugh, and that makes me feel better. It's medicine for me and you. You see it and know it and feel it in a way that doesn't even need to be said to our most loyal listeners, the one who feel like they actually know us and what we're actually about, because they actually do. You can't fake what Tuesdays are around here. Cody and I did a South Beach session about our relationship, and I would urge you to listen to it. What gets brought out when we're together will do more justice to our friendship than I'll be able to do here sitting alone. But Cody is, as you know, past the syrup of all this, a wonderful flaw disguised as a human being. Self-involved beyond all reason, belly full of beer cans, washes his hair with shampoo in the pool, doesn't just throw out the stinky deck shoes he has worn without socks for 30 years, but buries them in the backyard in an ornate funeral. My wife will tell you, there might not be anyone else in the world who makes me instantly happier right upon sight. I wanted to share something else with you now, though, as we spend this entire year celebrating the 20th anniversary of this show, celebrating 20 years of friendship with each other and with you on the air. I've been scared a lot the last few years, a lot, more than I've ever been. It really is a terrible place to live, in that dark, inside of a certain terror. And I will tell you now exactly when that fear first started, long before my brother died, this creeping sense of mortality that haunts and was never around before I turned 50. I remember the distinct cold blowing through me right after we left ESPN, when I was still in the bowels of a Clevelander that was falling apart with busted pipes and faulty bathrooms and an assortment of rots brought by living for years near the sea. Cody, who had already had a tumor removed from his chest, would not stop coughing. Could not stop coughing. My good friend was having trouble breathing and sleeping and was having trouble hiding it as well, and too stubborn to go to the doctors about it to boot. He'd try to hide it so poorly during the pandemic that he would pass out coughing on the floor. So afraid was he of being seen in public as a viral strain. On the phone, in the studio, that cough felt like an alarm for me. I don't know how much more overt a sound would have to be to warn you that time is short. This was very much a siren, a warning, not to value each moment. I couldn't see that from there. Death hadn't visited yet. Grief hadn't yet left its mark. So the lesson then wasn't to value each moment. It was to fear that any might be the last. And fear and gratitude could have trouble living in the same place if you aren't conscious about it. You can choose to run away from that fear, as I did at the time, or you can choose to run into it with the knowledge that you don't have to choose dark when there's still light. I didn't quite know when I lost my brother that I'd look up and realize that there was another who was there all along. I don't need to tell you or Greg that I love him. You know this, he knows this, you feel it, he feels it, I feel it. But we've got enormous plans around his 70th birthday this month, as our show celebrates 20 years together, and Greg and I celebrate being together almost twice that long. So happy 70th birthday to Greg Cote, my beloved friend, your beloved friend, our beloved friend. We do not know how much time we have left with any of the people we love, but we're going to celebrate this one like we know in our hearts that fill too deeply with love and loss that we aren't promised anything beyond the joy of today. That's the gift we get to share together with this lovable old man every Tuesday and every day, but especially on his birthday. The joy with gratitude and love together of getting to open the present.